Good day, Internet people, it's Jess here, and today I'm going to have a look at the Kagero deck profile for you all. So, first of all, I'll go into the basics, and it is a Force clan on the Imaginary Gifts, which means that your grade 3s have the ability to place down Force tokens onto your circles to gain 10k buffs, just like the Royal Paladin deck can. So that is a key part of this Kagero strategy. I'm just going to keep that on the screen because it's helping kind of keep the white balance correct, because when I take that off the screen the colour tends to fade out a little bit. Can you see how that's gone like a bit weird? But if I put that back, the colour comes back in, so my camera tries to be clever, so I'm leaving that there to make the colours better. So anyway, onto the actual deck profile. Obviously the starter is Lizard Runner Undo from the trial deck, because he's basically the only one you've got. He's got the standard starter ability at the moment. When raid upon, draw a card. So simple, straight up. Onto my trigger lineup, I run 5 draw triggers, of which 4 of them are Vanguard Barry. Vanguard Barry is your perfect guard, which is now a grade 0, so if you're just coming into the new format of Vanguard and you're used to your perfect guards, your sentinels being grade 1s, now they can be grade 0s as well. All the current decks do have a grade 1 option. For Kagero and Royals they come in the trial decks, and Oracle Think Tank and Nova Grapplers are single rares in the actual set. But most people I think will want to run these because it just frees up your grade 1 space. And yeah, so there's one extra draw in there as well, just to help me keep my hand size up a little bit, because I found this actually does make quite a lot of difference to how games proceed. So I've got 4 of this critical trigger, Demonic Dragon Mage Rakshara, or Rakshasha, or however you want to say that one. And then I've got 3 Embodiment of Spear Tar critical triggers. You'll notice they've got no skills. There's not really a lot of options for triggers at the moment, and none of them have skills outside of the perfect guards, so that's something to bear in mind. And you've got 4 heal triggers, because of course, why would you not? Onto the grade 1 lineup. I'm going to start with the MVP first, and that's Flame of Hope Ammo. The original ammo was basically just a drop and draw sort of card. Not bad to help fix your hand. This one is a little bit more effective. So he's 10k shield, 8k base power. He's got 2 abilities. Continuous on the rearguard is an 11k booster, which is pretty nice. Doesn't have any kind of circumstances which it needs to meet in order to get that. And his other skill is when your opponent's rearguard is retired during your turn, not specifically during the main phase, but even during the battle phase. So if you kill a rearguard, that counts as a retire. You can retire this unit, draw a card, and counter charge 1. So that's a very valuable card. 11k booster, counter charger, and a bit of extra card draw. It's literally just an amazing card, hence it being a triple rare. Next up, I run 4 of Lizard Soldier Rapier. He's a single rare from VBTO1. He's a very good card. On Vanguard and Rearguard, when an opponent's Rearguard is retired during your turn, he gets +5 until the end of turn. Generally, he'll be a 13k on the average turn. Easily can get up to 18 though if you do a couple of retires. And generally pretty good behind the Vanguard, I find. Can't go too far wrong with him. I run 4 of the trial deck card Embodiment of Armat Bar. So his skill is on the rearguard only, but when placed, counterblast 1, soul blast 1, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rearguards in the same column as this unit, retire it, and if you have more rearguards than your opponent, this unit gets +5 until the end of turn. So you might need to play some of your other retiring cards down before this one if you want to actually get his +5. But if you can do that, he's a nice easy 13. Early game he's fantastic. And the Soul Blast can be a little bit hard to get sometimes, depending on how you've kind of been using it for Dragonic Overlord. But yeah, pretty good card, and he's an 8k with a 10k shield, so worst case scenario, he helps you guard attacks quite nicely. And rounding off the grade 1s, I've got 2 Dragonic Gaius. I'll be honest, I don't use this skill very often. He hasn't changed a whole lot since his original incarnation. Basically, when he boosts a grade 3 or greater unit, you can choose to not have the boosted power, put him into the soul for a counterblast, and give the units that would be boosted crit +1. So you lose the boost power, but you gain a crit. If your opponent can't guard anyway, and you know they can't guard, then, well, you might as well do this in that case, because forcing 2 or more damage rather than just the single damage capitalise on every opportunity, basically. So that's a very useful one if the circumstances are right, but it's only the kind of thing you want 2 of. Generally you might put it behind the Vanguard, because that's where your grade 3s are most likely to be, unless you've got one of your Overlords on the rear guard just to swing for some threatening numbers. So that's that. Next up, grade 2s. I run 3 Dragon Armoured Knight. This is a trial deck card. When it attacks a Vanguard, if your opponent has 3 or less rear guards, this unit gets plus 5,000 until the end of that battle. So it's an easy 15k. Pretty much one of the easiest 15ks you'll ever see, because if you're playing Kagero, your opponent probably does have 3 or less rear guards when you go into swing anyway, so if the opponent has a full field, that probably means you've run out of counterblasts and soul blasts, so yeah, that's that guy. Next up, I run 4 of this trial deck card, Dragon Knight Nahala. Pretty good card. When he's placed, you can just counterblast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the back row, retire it, and he gets plus 5 until the end of turn. So again, nice easy 15 on the turn you play him. He doesn't require any soul, and he's just a single counterblast, so that is a very powerful card. Ideal targets for that are things like Circle Magus, the Ocarina, the Oracle Think Tank, 14k booster. If you're against Royals, you want to pop off stuff like Wingle or Marin. Against Kagero, pop off Rapier, and against Nova Grappler, if they've got any boosters down, you know, things like Jet Riser would be good to pop off with this if they're on the back row. So, yep, he's pretty awesome. The MVP of the grade 2s is Berserk Dragon. This is your ideal ride target at grade 2. Basically, on the Vanguard and rear guard, when placed, you can counterblast 1, soul blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it, so that's any rear guard. And if this unit is on the Vanguard circle, you draw a card. So it basically means that you've not lost a card from riding for that particular turn, which is really, really useful. And the second skill is a rear guard skill only. When it attacks a Vanguard, if you have more rear guards than your opponent, this unit gets plus 3,000 until the end of that battle. And I've got the hiccups now, which is Sodus Law, so bear with me. Yeah, so he swings for 13 if he attacks a Vanguard, and you've got more rear guards. So it, you know, it just swings at things like, well, swings at any of the grade 3s in the format and makes them have to guard, assuming they haven't got a trigger on it. So, worst case scenario, you could stick it on a force counter and swing for 23 without much effort, so that's pretty cool. He doesn't get the plus 3 when he's on the Vanguard circle, but you probably have a booster for him at that point anyway, so if you've got air mode behind, you've got yourself a nice 21k column, which is going to hurt if they're on grade 2 particularly. That's going to be something they're probably not going to guard easily, because you're going to probably trigger, maybe. Anyway, onto the grade 3 lineup. I run 4 Dragonic Overlord. I'd run another one of these, sorry, this is my favourite artwork, so ideally I would have this guy swapped for one of those, but I don't want to run a non-foily Overlord. So I've got that, and the Origin Rare. So I'll keep that one on screen for now, because that's the shiny bling bling. So he's obviously got the Force gift, so when you place one of these on the Vanguard circle, you get to place a Force token. And he's got 2 skills. So Vanguard and Rearguard, you could Soul Blast 1 and give him plus 10,000 until the end of turn, once per turn. Pretty useful, good on the Rearguard, so you can kind of have one on the Rearguard, give it the plus 10 from a Soul Blast, and then if you've got something like air mode behind, you're swinging for 34,000 just from that, so that's pretty crazy. His other ability is Vanguard only, on the, once per turn. When an attack hits, you can counterblast 1 and discard 2 cards from your hand, stand to this unit, and it gets drive -1 until the end of turn. So it's a restand. Often quite useful, but that drop 2 cards from your hand, knowing you're only going to get 1 card back from your drive check, it means it is a little bit risky. If your hand is full of you know, triggers that you want to guard with against a powerful attack coming at you next turn, or you've got perfect guards in there and not a lot of generic units that you can just drop, you might choose, I often choose, to not do the V-stand, partly for resource management and partly just because I know I need those cards in hand to guard with. And if your opponent gets a damage trigger on the first time as well, then it's kind of a little bit pointless restanding him, I find. He's kind of just there for a bit of pressure. It forces perfect guards out of your opponent a lot of the time because they don't want the V-stand to happen, even though you probably really don't intend to do the V-stand. It's one of those kind of, you know, you can just kind of play the mind games with it, which is what I like. And onto the ultimate boss of the deck, Dragonic Waterfall. So there's 4 of these. And again, he's got the Force gift. So, Dragonic Waterfall, he's got 2 skills. His first one is, when placed, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater rear guards and retire it. There's no cost on that, it's just when placed, so that's pretty beast. The only thing that's not going to work on is Promise Daughter at the moment, so assuming you're not against a field full of Promise Daughters, you're fine. His other ability does require grade 3s in the soul, so he's not an ideal first ride. You want to ride an Overlord first if you can. If you can't, you just get the retire and you're swinging vanilla. But if he has got a grade 3 in soul, when he attacks you can soul blast that grade 3. Until the end of turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 power, critical plus 1, and your opponent cannot call sentinels from the Guardian circle to the hand. So yeah, that skill is what will win you games. Now, if you just had him on the Vanguard circle without a booster, and you do that, it's just 21,000, that's never going to be very hard to block. So the key to winning with this deck, it is this guy. Let's assume that's the soul and that's him. The most important thing you want to do is constantly, and I mean constantly, build up your force counters on the Vanguard, like this. Stack them, it's like it's some kind of massive burger or something. You know, you want to, your chances are your final turn image is when you've got about 4 force counters on the thing, because then when you do the thing, you're going to be swinging for 21, 31, 41, 51, 61 before boost. That is when it starts to get really hard to guard without sentinels. If you're swinging for 31 or 41, generally they can throw down a couple of heal triggers and they'll probably be okay. But once you get to that kind of 3rd or 4th gift marker, then you're going to really start rinsing their hand. If you've got a Lizard Soldier Rapier behind at the start of turn, when you ride this guy, you obviously get yourself a 13k boost, so then you've got that 64 getting a 13 on top of that, or 61 getting a 13, or 71 getting a 13 boost. You're going to be starting hitting some really nice numbers. Alternatively, Airmo's pretty good behind, because he's an 11k booster, and that's what you really want to aim for. So if you're playing with Kagero, it's often tempting to put a force marker on the rear guards, but if you are running one that runs 4 waterfalls, trust me, pile it all here on the Vanguard circle, because when you get that turn off where you ride that, you pop off one of their interceptors, you attack, you soul blast that, and your opponent doesn't have a good time. Only Oracle Think Tank tends to have the card to really deal with that, and even then, knowing that they've got a bunch of protect markers and perfect guards in hand which they can't use, you're going to really put the pressure on, because any triggers you get as well can pump this guy up even more. If you've got 5 force counters on there, let's say you've got 5 force counters, and you had a Rapier behind, so you're 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71, plus the 13k of the boost for 84,000. Good luck to anyone guarding an 84,000 attack before triggers, knowing that could go up to 104,000. No sentinels. And that's how I win with this deck, basically. So, yeah, and win I do. I went 3-0 today at the local Vanguard tournament using this deck. against, was it 2 Royals decks and an Oracle Think Tank deck. And yeah, this guy, he really came through. So absolutely awesome. This is your winning image. So get hold of these guys as soon as you can if you want to build Kagero, basically. Dragonic Overlord is good, but he won't win you the game. So yeah, thanks for watching anyway. I hope you enjoyed this little deck profile. Let me know how you're getting on with building this deck, or if you've built it, let us know how you're getting on playing it. And if you have any kind of thoughts on how you would build it differently, let me know down below. Would you prefer to run different grade 2s and different grade 3s? Do you run Spillover Dragon? Because that's a pretty good alternative to Nahalem if you want to get an attack in and keep the soul filling up as well, because he's good, he can go in the soul. So let me know, post down in the comments down below, and we'll see you again soon with more deck profiles, and we'll bring you some fights using these standard decks as well very, very soon indeed. Thanks for watching, see you again soon. Bye internet people.